we've got James. James is looking maybe for some idea about reconnecting with a family member. Can you hear us, James?
Hi.
Hi, James.
Of course. Hi.
Hi.
Yeah,
How can we help you today?
Well, I am trying to, keep connection with my family as I get older. I've got an aged mother that is really, at this point in time, very adamant about the family keeping together. That being, brothers and sisters. These are all adults and 40s and 50s and stuff. But yeah, so at one point in time, I felt it very important to stand up when bigotry and anti-trans rhetoric was being spouted across the Christmas or holiday table, and that's led to some resentment and just kind of distancing. I mean, we've kind of grown apart physically, and I don't want us to completely lose touch. So just trying to figure out how to reopen dialogue.
Oh, yeah, that's a tough one.
What do you think, Erin?
Well, I mean, I've always said that when it comes to this kind of stuff, especially with somebody who is aging, relationship comes first, and offering that relationship out and creating some boundary that, like, you're not maybe interested in always having these conversations or debates with people, but opening up that line, even just very simple, sending a message and just saying, like, I'm thinking about you, and just reminding people of the relationship that you have. I know it could be really tough if there's been something said. I maybe stay clear of that one, especially in the beginning. Just try to reconnect based on the relationship that you do have. First, just taking a message of thinking about you, and I know we've had some disagreements in the past. Maybe we can just move forward and not talk about those things for now, because the relationship's really important to me, and I wanna spend time with you. People come first. Our relationships come first. These other things can stay by the side. I don't know. What do you think, Dave?
Well, it depends on the individual, I think. In terms of those relationships, almost all of my family is evangelical Christian still, the world I came out of. And because of that, and in America, you don't have to deal with this, Erin, but in the United States of America, because we had an election that was crazy 4 years ago.
Oh, there's Canadians into that too.
It is... it really further divided families. I mean, I've heard of families that don't even have religion in the mix, and they've been divided over these political lines. But when you factor that in, and again, all of my evangelical family pretty much is in that Trump camp, and it's further divided us and given us. It's not that we're not talking on purpose; it's that we have nothing to talk about. Of substance. We can be nice and talk about the weather or the local sports team or whatever, or the kids, or the surface stuff, and that's okay. So if you can keep conversations to those levels, and if the person you're trying to maintain relationship with is not insistent upon talking about those things, then yeah, you can have those connections. If they insist on talking, like you said, throwing out jabs about trans and LGBT issues or whatever if they're intent on having the freedom to make those disparaging remarks, I personally am not of a mind to sit quietly and let that happen. I think those issues are too important to allow that to transpire over the dinner table. If they insist on that, then I probably won't be joining them for dinner. And they'll know why. Yeah. Because I think some issues are important enough to take a stand on and say, I'm not going to sit quietly by and allow that to be a subject of conversation in my presence. If you guys want to do it you know, knock yourselves out if it makes you feel better, but I'm not going to be included in that.
Yeah. Yeah. The specific times I'm thinking about was a little while ago when I was pretty more, I was a lot more angry atheist or firebrand. I'm hoping at this point in time I can still bring across the importance, but not have it be a triggering event. And then, yeah, so conversation can happen, or say, well, that's a terrible thing to say. Let's talk about something else.
That's a good way to do it. Yeah, try to divert it. But sometimes you can just avoid it. I'm thinking right now of early on for many years after my abandoning Christianity, my daughters really didn't want much to do with me, and they kind of shunned me, and their relationship was pretty broken. But recently, one of my daughters there's been a crack in the door, and I've reached out, and you know, she's been receptive to connection, and I've gotten to see my grandkids. And so we met with them a few months ago and saw the grandkids for the first time in like 5 years. And they actually pastor a church, her and her husband, and they have to know what I'm all about, because I'm very public with my atheist activism, and I'm very loud against evangelical Christianity. And so we just didn't talk about it, though. I asked them about their church. Were they meeting in person again after COVID, and how was that going? They asked me about my travels. You know, we talked around the issues, but we were respectful of each other's positions. And I can honestly say I respect them as people for following convictions, even if I believe those convictions are wrong and that their ideas about their worldview are wrong, and I disagree with them. I can still say I respect you for living by your convictions and taking a stand on things. And I believe that. I can honestly say that. But we can agree to disagree, to use a tired term, and kind of respect one another in our various pursuits. And I think that's what we saw.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's weird. Good. I mean, because this with COVID, this was like the first years that we really didn't get together, and I think my 86-year-old mother is afraid that it's going to stay that way, and definitely wants to have us reconnect and try to build connections. It's. And yeah, as I said,
definitely tough. Yeah.
And and so are a couple of their kids. So they're kind of preppers. It's they're moving away from the city and into the hills, and and I'm asking him. He says straight up, it's because he thinks end times are coming, and now we got global warming and COVID, and I don't know how to. Advise him that this is just
one step at a time. I mean, you can't tackle all those things all at once. And like Dave had mentioned, start with some good boundaries and just take one step at a time there. I think that's all you can really do at this point. Just take it easy and just move forward cautiously with boundaries and see how it goes. Maybe give us a call back if you are able to reconnect and let us know how that goes.